honestly, as you were reading, just like a portion of my resume, I was reflecting, and I said, well, maybe that's why I'm single. All of
Mhm.
the things, and then for
Mhm.
some part, you have to downplay. So I don't downplay myself anymore, but I
Mhm. Like
also
you're
don't.
intimidating to men
Yeah.
because
So,
of all your education.
yes, I've been told that I'm intimidating. I've been told that my daughters are smarter. Like one guy told me, he was like, I just don't feel comfortable. Like your daughters are smarter than me. And I've never heard that one before.
Yeah.
It's been a money issue. They may not have money, but I think a challenge is because first of all, the numbers speak for themselves. And so the
Mhm.
women are outnumbered by men. Like that is just a fact. And so
When
you
you say outnumber, are you saying that there's more men than there are women, or
vice
there's like
vice
three
versa.
women? Is it
The
vice versa,
women
like three
men are
women,
out.
three
Yeah,
women to one man?
yes, the men are outnumbered by women. So, and then they
Got
have
it.
so many options.
Mhm.
And then we're living, I think one challenge is we're living in a world of false reality. So
Mhm.
you see what you see on the Instagram and the social media and all of those
Mhm.
things, and that's not real.
Mhm.
Just like, for example, when I was married, and when you're in a marriage or a relationship and your husband or a husband or the wife or whoever is
Yeah.
watching porn, that is fictional. That is something made up. And then now you want your partner to do that thing that's not realistic.
Welcome to the Wisdom and Bloom podcast,
Wisdom in bloom.
where Denise and I talk about all things women over 40.
Yes.
And
Yes.
today we are talking dating out here in these relationship streets with the
All of them
lovely,
streets.
All the
yeah,
streets,
all
All the
the
streets that has
streets.
side
anything to do
streets,
with
the
dating.
alleys,
The side
the
street. Yeah.
byways and the
Yep.
highways.
Yep.
Not the
Up,
byways
down.
and the highways.
Yep.
Paved
And
and
the
unpaved
byways.
road, yeah, paved and unpaved. Mhm. All of them, all
Paved
the
and
ways, all them
unpaved.
streets.
With
All
the
them big
lovely
streets.
Lisa Calicia. So let me
Yes.
share a little bit about the lovely Miss Calicia. She is a proud mother of 3 young ladies, and
Yeah.
her first daughter is what inspired her to become a teacher. She is from Philadelphia, where she West Philadelphia, born and
Born and
raised.
raised.
Eagle champions. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Gotta throw that in there.
Right. Love them. In
Mm-hmm.
15 months, look at you.
Go
She
now.
earned her associate's degree in general studies. In 1996, she moved back to Maryland, transferred to Coppin State, HBCU,
Mm-hmm.
and earned a Bachelor of Science degree in early childhood education. 2003, Ms. Kalicia earned her Master's of Arts degree in urban education from UMBC. And in 2019, she completed the New Leaders Principalship Training Program and graduated with her second master's in curriculum and instruction. Look at you. You are a
Mm-hmm.
learner.
Mm-hmm.
Not only are you
Mm-hmm.
an educator,
But
but you
she
love
is a
learning.
learner. Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yes.
I love
That is
learning.
You love
wonderful.
knowledge.
I love knowledge.
Yes.
I love sharing knowledge too. I do.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That
Yes,
is
yes.
wonderful.
I
So
love it.
we are so pleased to have you
Thank
with all
you.
of your wonderful
Yes.
knowledge
Welcome, Lisa. Welcome,
in
welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
education and in dating
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
here
thank you for having me to talk
on
about
our
these
show.
streets. Let me look out the window. Yep. Ain't nothing out there. It's just if the street. My street is bare.
Is nobody at your door? No UPS
Yeah.
man.
Door check. Yep. Nope. Yeah.
The
No.
milkman, the mailman, the meter man, all the men.
Oh,
Ah.
that heart just like broken in the leaves.
Aw. Oh my
Clear street
goodness.
out there. Just clear.
But it seems like you're at peace. So
I am at peace. Peace, very much so. I had to find my peace. I've been on many different dating experiences with apps and all of the things. But I am at peace. I had to find peace to finish a project I'm working on. I'll
Mhm.
share that project around May. But
Mhm.
in order to complete that project that I'm working on, I had to be at peace with isolation at times,
Yeah.
not going out, because even with some of my family and friends, I had to commit to get this monumental project done. So I had to be at peace. I wouldn't say being alone, being alone, but not being lonely, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Mm. So now is companionship something that you are looking for at this age?
Yes, absolutely. I don't feel like anybody in their, I don't say in their right mind, because people have had experiences that had wanted them to be isolated or alone, but I
Right.
would love companionship. To, to have someone to talk to. I call it my testosterone check. I love testosterone uh incoming in test. I forgot what
What?
how I said it.
Oh,
Yes.
oh.
So I need my
Incoming
testosterone
test.
shots. Testosterone. Yes, testosterone shots. Someone to think that you're pretty or you look
Yeah.
nice
Oh
today, call
yes,
you
Yeah.
yes, yes.
beautiful, how are you?
Mhm.
Get your check-ins and stuff like that. So
I got it.
I do have male friends and colleagues, and so I do get that side of it, but not the
But
more.
it means different when it's coming from
Yeah.
someone who, yeah.
Yeah.
Do
So
you
yeah.
so when you say you're looking for companion, are you looking for companion and then maybe someday in the future even marriage as well, Lisa?
You know what? I don't know about that. I'm at
Because
this space.
there's that fine line when we become. I say we. I've been married for 35 years, but I do have friends who are single, and they talk to marriage and relationship. But then after they turn 40, 50, 55, it was like just companionship. I don't know if I want to be married. You know.
Well, I've been married before, so I've had my young and dumb marriages, and
Hmm.
so I'm healed, delivered, and set free, and I'm at peace with that.
Hmm.
I would never say never because I'm only 53, so I still have like another 50 years to go. So I'm still
Yes,
like I'm
I
still
know
kind
that's
of,
right.
and I'm not going to count myself out. Like I don't know what God has in store for me, so
Hmm.
I'm not saying no,
Yeah.
but I'm not saying yes. I'm just open. I'm just not shutting myself
Yeah.
out the box, out the picture, because I'm still so young.
Right.
Exactly. Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Young and vibrant and active.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. All of those things.
So tell us, Lisa, as someone who has been out here dating, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges that you have come up against with dating men? Is it the new technologies that are out here, like the dating
Mhm.
apps?
Mhm.
Is it the men themselves? Maybe they have changed and they are looking for different things out here. Or maybe it's just you. You feel like I'm just not made for this new dating game. Like what are some of the things that you find have been the most challenging?
Yeah.
I think it's a combination of all of those things. I mean, for me, like as you were reading, just like a portion of my resume, I was reflecting, and I said, well, maybe that's why I'm single, all
Mhm.
of the things. And then,
Mhm.
for
Mm.
some part you have to downplay. So I don't downplay myself anymore. But I
Mhm.
Like
also
you're
don't,
intimidating to men
yeah.
because
So,
of all your education.
yes, I've been told that I'm intimidating. I've been told that my daughters are smarter. Like one guy told me, he was like, I just don't feel comfortable. Like your daughters are smarter than me. And I've never heard that one before.
Yeah.
It's been a money issue. They may not have money, but I think a challenge is because first of all, the numbers speak for themselves, and so the
Mhm.
women are outnumbered by men. Like that is just a fact. And so
When
you
you say outnumber, are you saying that there's more men than there are women, or
vice
there's like
vice
three
versa.
women? Is it
The
vice versa?
women
Like three
men are
women,
out.
three
Yeah,
women to one man.
yes, the men are outnumbered by women. So, and then they
Got
have
it.
so
Hmm.
many options.
Hmm.
And then we're living, I think one challenge is we're living in a world of false reality. So
Hmm.
you see what you see on the Instagram and the social media and all of those things, and that's not real.
Hmm.
Just like, for example, when I was married, when you're in a marriage or relationship and your husband or a husband or the wife or whoever is
Yeah.
watching porn, that is fictional. That is something made up. And then now you want your partner to do that thing that's not realistic. And so
Hmm.
I think a major challenge is that people are living in false realities. They're not telling the truth. That's what I found in my experience. Like if you don't have money, you don't have money.
Hmm.
So if
Mm.
I say I'm at the gym, I'm at the gym. If I say I have work to do or if I'm working on a project, then that's when I have no reason to lie. But they
Hmm.
find that you're not telling the truth or something like
It's
that.
because they're invested in all this social media stuff
Hmm.
where there's so many false positives on social media that you almost can't believe what you're actually seeing sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Yeah.
Now, is that different then? I mean, you mentioned that you were married before. So when you were dating back like in your 30s or so, did you saying that there wasn't as much lying, or it
So
was
remember,
different?
so back in the day, if you remember, we didn't have social media. And so
Mhm.
when you didn't have social media, when you're a teenager or a young adult in your 20s, what we did back then was we had to actually show up at people's houses. Like you had to go see where they lived.
Mhm.
Now we live in a world where you meet people. You don't go to the you're not any most safe people aren't going to somebody else's house.
Mhm.
And you can
Mhm.
prolong that process. And
Mhm.
you can it could be a fake house, it could be a stage house. This is really your house, so
Right.
back in the 60s, it's that like before the generations before us, they had to court each other, so you had to get
Mhm.
to know each
Mhm.
other, you had to get to know the
Mhm.
families, the
Yep.
neighborhoods, and
Yep.
all of those things. And that's not necessarily the case when it's all of that has been replaced with an app. And then
Mm.
you have the pictures. I'm posting the best picture I on my apps that I had. I would post what
Yeah, you want
I
to look nice.
no filters, because what you see when you show up, you're going to see what you saw on the
Yeah.
on the
Mhm.
platform. So I think that's the social media is a huge challenge, like the bags and the purses and all of these things that really does not make a relationship, and just being
Mhm.
truthful about where you are in your situation.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Mhm. Mhm. Do you think that what are some of the things that has surprised you that hasn't changed though? I know we didn't have social media then and we have it now, but is there some things that hasn't changed that guys was doing when you're young that they're still doing now over 50?
No, I'm not surprised, because I feel like chivalry has gone out the door as a
Yeah.
masses. And then,
Yes.
of course, when the type of person that I am, anybody that I meet, yes, they're going to hold the door for me, yes,
Mhm.
because I'm going to require them to do that.
Mhm.
But the times that we are in, it's just different in any any topic or title or area or domain. It's all different. It's just all different.
See, the
Yeah.
thing to me is like these are men, so I'm assuming that you're dating men that are like within your age range, maybe like give or take 10 years,
Mhm.
right? Don't people say 10 up or 10 down, right? So
Yeah.
they would still have some like old-fashioned values typically, right? Or
So, but I'm not meeting them. So that, and then I could write
mm,
a book about this. So I even did an experience one time, y'all. I did. My daughter told me that I had a certain type of guy. I'm an athletic person. So if I'm an
Mhm.
athletic person, I want my person to be athletic. And they
Yeah.
don't have to be all chiseled but if I go to the gym and I want to go hiking and I want to do all of those things, you need to be able to do those things. So I did a challenge for myself. I said I'm going to date whoever on this app. And so
mm,
I would go have lunch regardless of what they look like. They may not have
Yeah.
the best form, and I,
Mhm.
I ran into some weirdness. Like one guy just wanted to be a hugger. He was just wanted to hug. Like it's all of these different things.
mm,
And so men my age and older, a lot of them still unfortunately don't have their stuff together. It's this. It's
mm,
like it's for me. It's always been some extreme or another. And then when I meet a guy that I really really like, he's way busier than I am. So then I try to find somebody who matches where I am, like the
Mhm.
passion and the drive. But then it's so extreme, I never get to see him.
Yeah.
So
mm,
it's like trying to find a good mesh. And then every time I think I have a good mesh, then it's like, no, it's really not a good mesh.
Yeah.
So, but the older men do have values. They do. They still open doors.
Mhm.
mm-hmm,
Mhm.
mm-hmm. They're
Yeah.
still right, a little
When
chivalrous in that way. But you talked about the dating apps. Is that
I
the
was
way that you're
I was just
meeting?
about to go back to that.
Yeah, is
Mhm.
that the way that you're meeting many of these people?
I gave up on the apps, y'all. I did. It's
You
it is.
using?
It's a lot to swipe on the left and to the right. You're swiping.
Which ones were you using?
Oh, I tried Christian Mingle. What's the Plenty of Fish.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot what my favorite was. It was like four of them, and I would be on all of these apps. And I didn't particularly care for them because men are visual creatures, so I didn't want to
Mhm.
keep being judged. So that's why I posted pictures like of me hiking or
Mhm.
something, not where I was like dressed up or whatever, like in a
Mhm. Mhm.
natural, like just get off work type of thing. So,
Mhm.
but
Mhm.
they see what they're like, but then again, it kind of I don't say ghost left. Once you start having a conversation with me, you can't get over with me. I'm going to hold you accountable. I'm not for your crap. I'm going to call you out on your foolishness. I'm not just going to accept 10 years ago or 15 years ago when I was younger. Yes, I did all of that. I accepted. I took the lies, and you knew they were lying and all of it. But now, nope. My life is
I
too
just
precious.
don't understand. I don't understand what a 50-year-old got to lie about. That just blows my mind when I hear women say that
They
grown
don't want to lie. They got to lie about
40
all the other
and
women they
50.
dating.
Let
I
me tell
don't understand that, but you're grown. You're over 50. Just tell the damn truth. What are you
you.
lying about? I
So,
just don't understand that.
so because they're lying because they don't want to lose their option. They don't want to lose the option of you. They don't want to lose the capacity of you. They don't want to lose the essence of you. They want the that thing of having their cake and eat it too. And so I guess as men, as they get older, they may have started to lose their confidence. Their testosterone is dropping. Things may not salute the way they used to salute and all of the things.
Mm-hmm.
So, they want to, dibble and dabble and have the options that they need to put. I don't know. I'm not a guy, but these are some of my experiences. Like I was dating one guy, and he would send me pictures. That he go out of town, he would send me pictures. Y'all know, years later, I found out that the pictures, his girlfriend partner, was on the other side of the elevator. I said, these are some shenanigans, or they could be all fake. Like,
What?
I'm like, oh my goodness, like you were with somebody, you were with your person, you were with your date, girlfriend, wife, or whoever it was, while you were sending me a singular picture, you were also with someone. And so you find out all of these things, and I don't know if they don't want to let their youth go, but I talked to a lot of men too, and then some men don't want to, once they have experienced like divorce, they're kind of done and really don't. And I've run into that too. Like I thought I met a good is this specimen? I thought I met a fine older gentleman. I'm 53, so he's in like 60, or because he's like 6 or 7 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't want to get married again. So it's like, well, I don't know if I do or don't want to get married again, but he's like, for sure, he doesn't want to get married. He got divorced a couple of years ago. He doesn't want to be in a committed relationship. So then you just go back to being friends.
Yeah.
And it's always some excuse. It's always, and I don't do well with you not trusting me. Like if you cannot be insecure. I found a lot of that, a lot of insecurity. Women are insecure too, and that's for anybody. Like men and women shouldn't be insecure in relationships. You have to trust your partner. So I run into a lot of that.
I heard you say that you did this challenge on the dating app, and you said you ran into some weird situations where one guy was just a hugger, and immediately, I don't know, I'm sure y'all have seen the movie, the first Coming to America with
Eddie
Eddie
Murphy?
Murphy, and
With the different things,
yeah.
yes.
And do you remember when they were in the club, and
Yes.
Arsenio Hall was trying to find him these different women,
Yes.
and he's sitting in this bar, and all these different weird situations was happening. Immediately when you said that, that's where my brain went. So I want to ask you, give us a few scenarios of some of the weirdness that you encountered when you did the dating app challenge.
So like I mean my weird might be somebody else's weird, because you feel the chemistry and the connection and
Mm-hmm.
things like that.
Yeah.
And so some are not as I have and this is not like me bragging, but when you are of an intellect person,
Mm-hmm.
like it's hard to have a conversation with people who aren't able to keep up with the conversation. And so then you have to like bring your conversation a little bit down. So that's
Mm-hmm.
weird to me. Another time, and I don't want to give like too many details, because I don't want anyone to be able to identify themselves. But this one time, and it was me. This was all on me. It really, really was. I think because I could not focus, because the person had on glasses, and I could not see. Like I was distracted the whole time. I didn't know if I should look over the glass or under, and so I could not focus. And I
These were
tried several.
sunglasses? Like
No,
shade?
they was just regular glasses, but they were like
Were they just eye level or
they were
something?
like I never seen that before. They were like half glasses, So it's like
Oh,
kind person. But then it's just, or someone they're either or overly proper and can't just let down the guard, or you just
Yeah.
or not. And so maybe the weird isn't
But you're kind of weird.
This one was weird, but I can't. This one, if I tell the story, he's going to know who he is. But going to someone's house, because and my daughters, they have they know my location at all times, and then my girlfriends, if I'm say Kamisha, I'm going, but it hasn't been any date, so it's no say Kamisha know my location. And then you get there, and I'm thinking we're going out, and then they pull out. Here's the number one thing for me. I cannot. It's just my personal thing. And then he's going to say, you want to smoke? No, I did not drive 40, 60 minutes down to these, to go down. And then you pull out, and then you want to roll up, and you want to smoke. And I'm sitting there like this,
I thought you were gonna say he pulled out something.
No, not that. One person, and because I feel like if I tell, then that, because if I might have to tell y'all online this one person, because if I say these things, like I think they would know who they are.
Would know it was them.
Only women watch this show, but men are watching this show too.
Mostly women, but they are men as well.
There are some men, and we get some comment from some men. Me and Kamisha was talking about that. We were reading our comments on YouTube. We get a lot of comments on YouTube. And
men are usually angry.
Men are commenting on YouTube, and they are angry about, they don't want to date overweight women. And they're saying that once a woman becomes 50 or over, they become overweight, especially Black women, and they're angry.
Oh my goodness. I can tell y'all about this date because I was just mortified. I believe that holding hands is intimate, and on first date, there's just things you don't do unless you have like an immediate connection, like brown sugar and Sanaa Lathan and Coke, yes, like that, but again, that's the movies. And so the guy picked me up, and then we're in his car, and he was trying to hold my hand, and I was like, I don't want to, I literally just met you a week ago, and you don't the UPS guy, because he knows where I live. And so I see him on the side. Of course, I don't see him on my route anymore, but I used to see him on the route. So he finally asked me out. So I said, sure, why not? Again, a different person, the professional work person, and then the person you go out with, two completely different. I specifically told him in the car, I think that, and I said it wasn't like I just pulled away. I said, well, I think holding hands is kind of intimate if you date, going out. I said, I think that's intimate, like kissing, like you don't just hold somebody's hand. It's just a weird feeling. And so we got all the way down there, we're talking, we're chit chat, and do you know, we got in the elevator to go to Casino Live. Do y'all know what he did? He waited till we got on the elevator with people, and y'all know what he did? He pulled me in and gave me a hug. Just told you in the car, don't hold my hand.
I don't want to.
And then when I said, I felt so uncomfortable, I was like, this is so, like, you're not respecting my space. You're not respecting my boundaries. And then so we go through the date. I'm like, I'm not rude, but I'm just turned off, and I just want to go home. And then to top it all off, so by this time I told him I really didn't feel comfortable. I was very upset about what he did. I asked him not to be, I don't like people in my personal space on the first date. I don't know you, let me warm up. I'm a slow roller. I'm like a radiator, not because I'm over 50, but because I just
that's
like
your personality.
I like to feel things out. That's just who I am. But do y'all know, after that, I guess he didn't like the response, and then he gonna tell me that he was wanting to take me home because of what I look like. The nerve. I said, so he was, and he used the word trophy. He was like, because you look like a trophy. He actually told me that. That's probably the worst date in the recent years. Yes, things like that. I can go story after story after story. He told me I look like a trophy wife.
What?
Yeah, he actually said that. Yeah.
Oh my God.
You probably don't even know what it means. The accurate.
Maybe weird is not the word, but just.
Did he think you were supposed to feel complimented by that? Like,
I hope he didn't, because I felt very disrespectful, and I felt that's what my second husband wanted. Prissy Little Danny wanted the look. He wanted the look of marriage, but not the actual content, the work of the marriage. He just wanted what I looked like, and not who I am.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you this. When you were younger, I'm sure you had deal breakers, like things that you would just not tolerate.
Mm-hmm.
Has that list changed as you've gotten older and kind of grown and reevaluated those relationship streets? Has that deal breaker list kind of changed?
The first major thing was don't put your hands on me. I don't like the violence and all of those things. So just don't, you can have a conversation with me. You're not
Right.
happy. I don't like arguing and all those things. So that's a deal breaker.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? Um, I used to think, now this might be controversial. I don't want to say cheating if I'm married, that's a definite no. But now if you're talking to someone else, because I guess that's not cheating, just be honest about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I find that, like, if you're dating, we're not committed, so you're not cheating, just tell
Mm-hmm.
me about it.
Yeah.
But if you're dating 2 or 3 women, going out, and then I find out about it, because we could tell in mannerisms, and that's a deal
Mm-hmm.
breaker, because I feel like
Mm-hmm.
you're not being forthright. Because I'm going to say, yes, I have friendships with other guys. I'm just filling them
Okay,
out,
we
whatever the
grown
case.
people. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but like, just say that. Just
Yeah.
say that you're dating somebody else, because it's date. And then if you feel like you want to get committed, then you talk to your people. I'll talk to my people. But
Right.
at least let me at least let me know what I'm
Let
working
me
with.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Right.
because
Yeah.
to me that's a part of honesty. So the dishonesty is a deal breaker.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
That's interesting because I know Denise said earlier, like, you over 50, like, what you lying for? I think there's this idea that as men age, Denise,
Mm-hmm.
that you think they become like less fearful, right? Less
Yes.
fearful in
Mm-hmm.
these relationships and like more confident. But it
Yeah.
doesn't sound like that. It doesn't sound like they get less fearful and more confident. It's almost like they're still like the same, like young.
Right.
And many of them. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
say all of them, but they're still
Yeah.
kind of like, teenage boys, sort of, like they're
Playing the
afraid.
same
They don't
teenage
want to,
game.
yeah, they don't want
Yeah.
to be honest. They don't want to tell you because what if they like you and they like the other person? But then if they
Mm-hmm.
tell you, they know that you're not going to stick around. So then they
Mm-hmm.
just don't tell you that they talking to somebody else, and they like continue to play these games because they still feel like insecure. It doesn't matter the age. They still don't want to, like Lisa said, like lose you, even
Yeah.
though that they're older.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Versus being older and a little bit more wiser and more mature and saying, hey, if this relationship isn't going to work because we are not looking for the same things. We are,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
just in different
Yeah.
places, and I want to date around or she wants to date around, and we both don't want to do the same thing at the same time. That's okay. No, they're not there. I think that's part of the challenge too. When you get older, you feel like people have been in relationships, maybe they've been married, a couple of times or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
so that they wouldn't come to the relationship with that same kind of like immaturity that they've
Yeah.
had previously. But like Lisa says, like some of the stories I've heard from Lisa and other women is it's almost like the men revert. It's like they
You're going
go back.
backwards.
And I
Absolutely.
think,
Mm-hmm.
Yes, like they had the ball and chain, as they used to
Mm-hmm.
say. I don't think they say
Mm-hmm.
that anymore, but still some men felt like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they felt
yeah.
like they had to be stuck with this person,
Mm-hmm.
and many times they didn't want to be stuck with that person, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
now they are out here and they are free, to do what
Right.
and do whatever they want with whoever they want,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
and they are doing that, but just not in a like respectful way that
Mm-hmm.
you
Mhm.
think would come with some age and
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think to be fair to all the men out there is that they too go through trauma. And so because I work in a lot with trauma informed care and mental health and wellness, like, and having grace where people are, um, I think society still holds men to the standard of not having emotions and not having feelings and not
Mm-hmm.
having, and some of them, a lot of men have been emasculated, with the harshness of whether it's their body and the things that they're going through as they get older and things are sagging, they go through it too. And so they go through trauma, and we don't, they're supposed to be men and man up and all of those things, like they don't have emotions. So I try to hear their story, like if I'm dating, or like, why are you single, things like that. But they too go through similar traumas, that they've been cheated on. They, like, and go through all of the things. And I think sometimes we forget that as women too,
Yeah.
that they're supposed to be so stoic and brave.
Yeah.
Um, And I've heard that complaint too as well from men, like we don't allow them to have that safe space where they can lay their head down and then not be judged for it, and then throw it back in the, thrown
Mm-hmm.
back in their face and things like that. So, and we're dealing with a lot of mental trauma and emotions and unhealed wounds from those marriages and their previous relationships. Like we're at 50, so we're dealing with all those decades. Like
Mm.
you asked me about my teenage years, so what did they go through when they were teenagers?
Yeah,
They
yeah,
go through
yeah.
their 20s, their 30s, and their 40s. That
Yep.
they're not the baggage that they're bringing to the table when we're dating and talking to them. So
You said something too about the role swapping and emasculating, but I also have noticed too that it seemed like more women are taking that masculine role where some men feel intimidated, not
mhm,
because of money or finances or title, but because the woman has put on this strong pose, and that strength is so strong that they don't allow a man to come
mhm,
in with chivalry,
yes,
you know. And
mhm,
it's almost like they're taking away that masculinity that the man has, so they're like, oh, I can't be in that relationship because I can't even wear the pants, so to speak, you know what I
mhm.
mean?
Yeah, that's true. And even with dating, like my pastor was just talking about this. He did a relationship series at Union Church, and he was saying that so many women take the opportunity from men to be men. Like
Mm-hmm.
there's a reason why you let them get the door. I get the door. I
Mm-hmm.
get the. It's not about that we can't get the door. It's about that's how men kind of have been trained and groomed to be men. But those are
Mm-hmm.
tests, and when you take all of the tests away from them, you
Mm-hmm.
don't give them an opportunity to show you that they're chivalrous, that they will get the door for you, that they'll open your car door because you want to be, I don't say with the rah rah, but
Mm-hmm.
we have to, as women, I am very, like I said, I don't dummy myself down, but I let my softness show when I'm going on a date. Like you
I
want to,
agree.
I'll get the, because that's what I want. I don't want to be hard. I don't want to be this hardcore person. I don't, and I say it all the time when I'm going on a date with a guy or get into these conversations. I have to be a leader at work.
Mm-hmm.
It's your turn. It's you're the leader.
Yeah.
You tell me where you will. Where would you like to take me for a date?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Give them an opportunity to plan. Give them the opportunity to be successful. Give them, what you like. I'm allergic to shrimp or whatever the case may be,
Yeah.
but try to set them up for success and give them that power. Not power over you, but power
Mm-hmm.
with you to
With you,
them to be
absolutely.
successful. But when we want to, I'll get the door. Then how do you even? But then you want to complain because you didn't let him get the door or pay the bill or pay in half. Let him pay. Let them pay. I'll pay my half. And
Yeah.
then you will learn later down the road if he wanted something or if it really is, he's just a true gentleman. So those are things that I do.
Most men want a badass boss, but they also want, when that badass boss come home, that they allow me to pull your chair out, or babe, open this jar for me, or you know what I'm saying? Like
Yes.
there's a balance in strength when it comes.
Right.
I'm not saying that we're like the damsel in distress and, oh my God, woe is me, help me. But there is a part we play in a man's transition.
Hmm.
And we are not playing that part, but we're getting mad because these boys are not transitioning to men.
Right.
But
Well,
there
there's
is a
also,
part to be played.
Yeah.
well, I mean, also there's a difference, right, between like being intelligent, because I don't think
Hmm.
men want dumb women, like in general.
Exactly.
Like they
Yeah,
don't,
they
in
don't.
general, they don't want dumb women. They probably want you to actually be smarter than them. You know what I'm saying? But they also want to feel, like you said, like the
Hmm.
man, right?
Yeah.
So you have
Yeah.
to kind of balance your intelligence with your femininity, because
Hmm.
they
Right.
want to feel your femininity. And I think
Hmm.
some women, they get that mixed up, right? They're like,
Right.
they're like bringing too much masculine with their intelligence and their income and, their accolades and all the things that they feel like they have to prove.
Hmm.
When for men, I think it's much simpler. Like you said, they're visual, they see you, they think you look good, you already in. But then once you start talking, if you don't sound like a
You can
feminine
hold a
woman. You know what
conversation.
I mean? You don't sound like somebody that they feel like, oh, I can be a man with, or I can be myself with, or I can be, genuine with. Then sometimes I think women, at any age really, we kind of sabotage ourselves. And the older
Yes.
we get, I think, and the more that we have accomplished, it's even harder sometimes to kind of say, okay, yes, I've accomplished all of these things in the world, but there's still a different accomplishment I want to have in a relationship, and you have to go about that differently than you
Yeah.
have gone about all these other kind of accomplishments. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. And men want to be heard. They want that safe space. They don't, and then the things with the looks. Now, yes, you have some superficial people out there,
Of
but
course. Of
a lot
course.
of men are starting to complain about the eyelashes, the fakeness, like all of the things. Like they really
Yeah.
want to see your authentic self. And it's not until those people who are in alignment to date each other and you have those conversations and take off the lashes and all the falseness and all those things are. But
Mm-hmm.
yes, being able to have conversations with men have helped me to refine some of the things that I was doing, and so I'm able to be a better person for myself, but also to have a mate. I just haven't, and not that I'm looking, the person will come.
Mm-hmm.
But listening to all of the men, like they just want somebody to talk to. They don't want to be disrespected. They don't want to be
Mm-hmm.
cussed out with the rah rah and yeah, 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 and all of
Yeah.
that thing. They just want to, like you said, they want to have a conversation. Are we able to talk about things? Can we
Mm-hmm.
talk? And is it a partnership? Are you going to
Yeah.
try to dominate and domineer everything? And that, so
Yeah. You
Mhm.
were saying that your kids had challenged you for on the dating app. What is some of the best advice that you have received about dating from your kids, this other generation? What advice have they given you that you thought, man, this is some good advice?
they have taught me to be bold and to speak up for myself. And if I want to do something, I want to do that thing. And if I don't want to do it, I don't want to do it. And I don't feel bad about letting somebody know like this wasn't a good match. And so if I'm turning down a date or I don't want to do it, I'm not mean, I'm not demeaning. I say, no, it wasn't a good match. It's not necessarily something wrong with you. It's not something wrong with me. So speaking my truth and speaking your truth does not mean to be belligerent and
Right.
a boss.
I
That's
agree.
not what that means. But you can
I agree.
let men down with kindness and just say, it wasn't a best fit or whatever the case may be, and just be myself. Get out the house. Because if I say they be like, "Go, mom, you going on a date?" Then make sure my outfit is on point.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do the dating apps anymore because that's just too much. It's too much. And you got to keep into the messages. Then you got to log in. Then you had to log in on that app and check all those messages. And then I'm not on my phone like that. So it just became a too much for me. It was just too much. And then if you don't respond in time, then it might be 2 or 3 weeks that they hear from me because
Yeah.
I'm not on my phone like that. So, but for my daughters, it's to just be myself and love who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't choose me or if the guy doesn't like me, it's fine. There's more people out there. So,
It's helped you to build your dating confidence, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah, I'm cool.
yeah.
I
I
think,
think
yep.
it's more like caring a lot less and giving,
Mhm.
a lot less F's or whatever. Like these
Yeah.
younger people,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think some of that is what they've seen online where you're swiping. It's like, I don't care. Move on.
Mm-hmm.
Let's
Yeah.
move
Move
on.
on
Let's
to the
move
Yeah.
next.
on. Where our
Mm-hmm.
generation we didn't have all of that quick moving on. You gave people time. You tried to get to know them. You
Mm-hmm.
might
Mm-hmm.
work with them and see,
Mm-hmm.
if they're thinking, and they're like, no, we don't have time for all of that anymore. Like,
Yeah,
mom,
Yeah.
just move
absolutely.
on.
What is some of the best advice you think you would give women over 40? What is, some of the best advice as so many of them are hesitating to even get back into the dating, world. I mean, we've had conversations with women. We've read comments on our platform, and
Mhm.
a lot of these women, we have more women that say they're at peace being by themselves. You
Mhm.
know, they're alone, but they're not lonely. You know.
Mhm.
So, what
Okay.
advice though would you give them as they're just completely hesitant into just going back into that dating scene?
I would say do a deep dive. First, do a deep dive into why you're saying that. Like, for example, I say the same thing. But I would like companionship again. Like, I'm not completely closed off to the thought, and not to get religious or spiritual, but we weren't created to be alone. There's a
Absolutely,
reason,
I
there's
agree
a
with that.
reason. And I think sometimes people say that to put themselves. I have a bubble, and one of my girlfriends, she was like, "Are you in your bubble?" But it's not just from men. It's just the type of work that I do. It's a lot of noise all day long with working with 600 people in a building. And so I need to come home. My brain needs to rest. But sometimes I'll find myself months at a time, just in isolation. And that's not necessarily good. But I would ask, like, really ask yourself, why are you doing that so you don't get hurt? Are you truly,
Yeah, are you
so are you
protecting
saying,
yourself?
if we were to ask those very same women, so you're 50 years old, so you want to go 50 years, you really want to go another 50 years being okay alone? I'm not okay with that. I want to do the Netflix and chill. I can't tell you the last time I Netflixed and chill, because nobody has made it that far to get to the Netflix and chill. But for me, there's nothing like, on a hard day of work, just taking your head and putting your head on his shoulder, where that is, men bring something, and because we are who we are for a reason, we bring that softness. Men bring that comfort, they bring that security, they bring I got you. You know, like, I know that my girls got me. I know that Kamisha and you got me. I know that sisterhood, but it's nothing like knowing a man, a gorgeous man, a black man, whatever man you like, has your back and doesn't want anything from you, that's there for you. That speaks a different kind of power, that it sits you up a different kind of way.
Yes, it does. That
Yeah.
connection. It's all about connection. This is why we were not built to be alone, because we need connection. We need that
Yes.
connection. Our
Yes.
body, even though our mouth might say something, our body actually craves it. It craves that connection. So I agree.
I don't think it's healthy. It's not. It's, and like I said, I have like my guy friends, but as far as a relationship, I'm not in a relationship right now. I had to do my own work. I had to pray for God. What is it that you want me to do? There's no way, and these are my conversations that I'm having with God. There's no way you could intend for me to want to be alone. And like I said, I'm at peace where I am, but my peace is in prayer. Like, whatever God has for me, God, like, if you intend for me to be single, that's something different versus than I'm just going to be single. My peace is in knowing that whatever God has for me, and if that's not a call on my life, I'm okay with it. If it is, then I'm okay. But I'm not saying what I'm not talking to anybody for 50 years. Y'all don't, they don't want no, and they don't want no good for 50 years. Really.
Good.
I'm quite sure this is a clean show. Did y'all hear that? Did y'all
That's
hear
all right.
out there? Like,
This is a clean show.
Miss Kalicia, listen, read between the lines. You really gonna be fine. Listen.
You really was gonna be okay without the good.
We said, because you still have hormones. Like, people don't talk about this. We don't talk about the menopause. We don't talk about, so just like your period cycle and all, they fluctuate, so does your hormones. You have them that week or two or whatever, that your hormones skyrocketed. You okay that week? I'm just saying. I know.
And then you're all right.
Let me look back out on my street.
You be out there looking for Mr. Good Right with a flashlight.
And there's no judge. I listen and I don't judge, but we have to, when I hear those statements, or we have to find out if we're truly 100% healed within what we're doing. But if you're, and it's just like playing again, it's just like taking shots. You're going to miss 100% of the shots that you never take. And I'm not okay with that. I'm okay with trying. I'm okay with going out to lunch. There's nothing wrong with going out to lunch or breakfast or brunch. It wasn't a good mix. It's okay. I don't think it was a good mix. You're a good person. You know, I wish you
but
the
at
best.
least you tried.
At least you tried. But to cut yourself off from a blessing, who are you to cut a blessing off that God is trying to give you?
Yeah, you're right though. I think a lot of it is definitely protection, because I certainly recall having a conversation with a person. I won't say who the person is. It's not you, Lisa, but it's another person who has not been dating now. They broke up with their person. I don't even know now. Maybe it's been like 15 years or something. And at first they were like, no, I'm just, just healing. Everybody goes through their healing or whatever. Okay. So they was just healing. But then it became, I don't need no man. I don't need nobody. I'm good all by myself. I'm good all by myself. But just the way that she was saying that, it wasn't authentic. Like, it wasn't genuine. And I had
Yeah.
to say, like, are you really meaning that? Or are you saying that because you are afraid maybe you won't find anybody else, right? You invested in this relationship and
Afraid
that
of
didn't work
rejection.
out. Right. Or are you saying that because you don't really want to put yourself out there because that, there's going to be a lot more misses and there's going to be hits, like you have to actually be honest with yourself because I don't have no dog in this fight. So you telling me that you're good being by yourself,
Right.
that's something that you are holding yourself back from. Like, you
Right.
have to be honest with you
Right.
and say, when you're alone at night in your bed, is this okay? Is this something I'm looking forward to? You know
With
what I
no
mean?
good.
Right.
With no good.
No good, and no good prospects out on the street. Is this something that you are really willing to say, this is not what I want for the rest of my life? And she actually did come back later and say, I thought about what you said and you really made some good points. Because I also feel like as women, we should be honest with each other, right? Like, we can't just be allowing women, when you know that that's not really what they mean, to be like, no, I'm good. I don't need nobody. I'm fine. I don't need no man. But it's like you said, now you are cutting yourself off from the opportunities and blessings and things that are available to you because you don't want to do your work on whatever has happened in your past relationships.
Right.
And why? You know what I mean? Like, why not?
Yeah.
I do like your spirit about it, though, Lisa. I really like your spirit about, like, I am open to what is God has for me, right? And I am not gonna say I don't want anybody, I don't want anything, I'm okay.
I don't want to
Like,
get
no, I'm
married.
open, right? Like, it's not gonna necessarily be easy, right, for you to find your match, but that doesn't mean that your match isn't out there.
That's
right. And you're not going to meet that match like sitting, and because we did the relationship series in church, you're not going to meet your match sitting in the house. And so I know for me, I'll be out more this year as the year progresses. Men are bright, men are brilliant. You're supposed to have that balance, and men have a skill set that we don't. We have a skill set, and it's supposed to mesh and come together. It doesn't necessarily have to be marriage. It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be. Oh, like, again, going back into that false reality, and then we grew up as little girls with the Cinderella, and we're going to get married. And no, this doesn't have.
Yeah.
A breakfast will do. A tea will do. It doesn't have to be that serious where you feel like you're going to get stabbed in your back that fast because you just had breakfast or tea with someone.
Well, you bring up a good point, and we had an episode on our show called Living Apart Together, right? This is a new trend in relationships.
I heard y'all on that show talking about living apart together.
Yes. So if you haven't seen that, make sure you go see that.
I like that idea, living apart.
I mean, it's for everybody else, not you, Lisa, but our age. Yes. But women our age,
I actually
they
have
are
friends who are living apart together, and they are flourishing. Their relationship is flourishing.
But when you were saying, you talked about how, back in the day, the relationship looked one way and it can look different now. Like, also think about that, right? Maybe you are dating a man that says, I don't really want to be married, but he's monogamous and he's committed, right? Like, you also have to be willing to rethink, like, what can that relationship be now? Like, how does it have to look now? Maybe it doesn't have to be marriage like it was before and living together or whatever, but that doesn't mean that it can't be, a serious, real, genuine, loving, committed relationship with all the good and all the stuff, right? So we also have to just continue to just be open at this age. I think just be open.
Yes, you have to be open, like, because life is short, life is fleeting, and to cut your own blessings off does just not make sense to me. And so, like, when you're out and about or you go to the market, like, there's plenty of potential out there. Like, I don't think, even though men are, did I say that right? Men are outnumbered by women. I still feel like there's still good opportunities, if that makes sense. Like, the opportunities are there to meet people, to meet and mingle, and to, see somebody across the room or whatever. But you have to be willing to be honest with yourself and really ask your question, because I don't think people do that. I don't think they say, I'm 50, but I have the potential of living another 50 years. Do I really? You sit in the house, I'm great, be an empty nester. I want to be in this house by myself for 50 years. Like, do they ask that question? I'm fine being alone. Throw that for 10 more years. You're fine with being alone for 10 more years, 20 more. Start adding the years on there. And you really don't want a strong arm to lay your head on to feel protected and loved and comforted. In that type of, that's a different space to be in. It's a good sacred space to be. There are plenty of men out there who want to love someone that are looking too over 50.
Open your heart to it. Well, this has been great, Lisa. Thank you for sharing this. Thank you. What are your final thoughts and advice on dating in your 50s? If you had to summarize it, what would that be?
So I'm still early. I'm just turned 53, so I'm like 53 in 3 days. So I'm still early.
So you're a 50-ish baby.
Yes, I'm a 50-ish baby, and I don't feel like 50. Like, I don't, when people like 50, like, ooh, like what is, like, you're blessed. We've been blessed and with this time that we had, but it really, I don't know what the 50 mean, because when you like, it's like 30 on steroids or something. Right. I don't know. I mean, of course your knees are crack and stuff like that, but we're beautiful people. When you take care of yourself, you're looking good, you're smelling good, and all of the things. I would just say really do the self work. The work that I like I said, I work with a lot of mental trauma and wellness and mental health, and I really did the work on myself to heal from my marriages, to heal on past relationships, to heal from all of the things that made me feel like I was inadequate or something was wrong. Because it wasn't just from the relationships with men. It's also relationships with your family members. It's relationships with your children.
It's relationship with self.
Your relationship with self. Your relationship at work. There are things that happen at work that make you question yourself. So all of those things. And so when you do a total evaluation of where you are, and then, because you have to do that work, not just for yourself, but you have to do the work in all of those other relationships to get to where you are, so you can be at peace and be okay with where you're at. So I'm really saying to do the work. A lot of people aren't doing the work. They're saying, like Kamisha said, they're saying they're okay. I'm okay. You have to get in that car, like, girl, let me tell you something. I am not all right. Okay, I'm not fine. You know, and then do the work, do the readings, the healings, the whatever it is that you need to do, so you can be at peace, so you can get to the next door, the next blessing that is there for you. You're going, and we know this, you're going to keep getting the same lesson until you master what it is that you're supposed to do.
That is true.
So that internal work, I say that internal work, because you're not good to anybody if you're not good to yourself first.
Amen. Final
beautifully
thoughts,
said. No, I think that was beautifully said.
And that beautifully said. I love it.
Yes. Well, that concludes another episode of Wisdom in Bloom. And we appreciate you joining us, and we would love to hear your comments and your thoughts on this episode. So please do not hesitate.
These dating streets.
And
yes, and them street. I'm gonna check my street again. fellas, I'm single. My street is, wide open for.
Let us know what it looks like on your street. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. What's your street like?
Hashtag how your street looking.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, and keep blooming, ladies.
Keep blooming, ladies.